सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So what we are currently doing is a introduction to the main text by Swami Akhandananda ji, and even before the main Shankara Bhashya on the Karika with the Sambandha Bhashya, that's what I meant to say, the Sambandha Bhashya of our, even before that, Swami Akhandananda had made some important points, and he would not have mentioned it unless they were very key to the whole study. So he has gone into what I would say is a advanced understanding of sadhana chatushtaya. So this is what we are doing. With that, when we finish this phase, then we will go into the Sambandha Bhashya, which would take up the topic of what is called Sambandha Chatushtaya. And so we will do that a little bit later on. And after that, we will start the very first verse of the Upanishad. So that's the sequence that we're doing. So a couple of things. I think that one of the students, Surendra Bhargava, had written to me saying that please mention the pages of Swami Akhandananda's books that you are covering. So I'll try to do that. That's a good idea. So that triggers a thought that if you are Hindi speaking, then I really recommend to you that you acquire this 4-volume set of the Mandukya Karika by Swami Akhandananda. And some of you already have it. And if you are really interested in getting hard copies of it, then I think we can resume our search. Not resume, but we will resume, if you want to call it resume, we can redo the efforts to get it from India, which will take a while. But in the meantime, Akhil Garg had given us a PDF version which is available on the internet. And I think we had submitted that. He had submitted that into the WhatsApp group. And I actually had a chance to look at it, and it's pretty readable. The font is visible. And so in the meantime, if you are interested in acquiring that book and don't want to wait for, or if you never want to get the printed copy, then you should certainly do that. My request is that if you're Hindi speaking, then this is a very good text to look at. It certainly has been for me because I had been saying this for a while for you, that the study of Vedanta is very much like a jigsaw puzzle, where you are putting all of these pieces together but they don't really make a very clear picture of what is it that you're doing. But it is a necessary step to do, to dovetail all of these individual pieces. And so that is all the process of Shravanam and Mananam and Nididhyasanam and all that. But there comes a point where the way the Vidya is communicated, that takes into account all of the pieces that you have inquired into, begin to make sense. And for me, this book by Swami Akhandananda ji did that. All my study with my own gurus, Swami Dayanand ji, Swami Chinmayanand ji, all those other people were all putting the pieces together, and that is necessary. You cannot get the whole picture until you have enough pieces that are all fit together. But I think what really took me to the next stage of clarity was a very good review, and several times, not just once, very consistent review of this book. So I consider that to be a major transformation, at least in my life. And I suggest to you is that if you are Hindi speaking, then you may want to keep that in mind. Anyway, just some thoughts. So what we were looking at was Sadhana Chatushtaya, which, as you remember I mentioned, is called Samagri Chatushtaya. Samagri means that if you are undertaking a long journey away from your home, obviously, then you need to make sure that you have some things to survive upon that are very important. Things to survive upon are by nature important. Food, water, etc., etc. So you must stock up on those because you may be going on some hike, very advanced hike, where you may not get food and water for quite a while. So it is better to keep it with you so that you are prepared to finish the journey. So the Sadhana Chatushtaya is exactly like that. So we have, life is a journey where a lot of obstacles come, a lot of pleasures, a lot of problems. We have to know how to negotiate. If a way is given to us to say this is where you should be going and this is how you should get there, and in the meantime, if some obstacles come, just overcome them. Don't worry about it. It will, because keep your drishti towards the final goal. This is what Shastra says. So there, the important provisions to stock up on is called Sadhana Chatushtaya. So, and I think the way the Swami Akhandananda ji has dealt with it at a high level is very important for us too. So I'm reviewing that. So starting with Viveka. Let's take Viveka. So, normally, this is the problem in our understanding. We learn some interesting words and then we feel, okay, now that we know Viveka, Atma, Anatma, Viveka. Atma is this, Anatma is that, and the distinguishing between them is Viveka. Okay, I understood it. Okay, let's go. What's the next thing? This is exactly how we do it. Without really understanding the truth behind the words, we trivialize it. So let's go back to Viveka. So there's obviously various ways to look at it. But I think the one that Swami Akhandananda suggested, which I think is a very good way to look at it, is this. So the Vedantins talk about that the entire experience is not true, it's mithya. So mithya also is a technical word. You have to understand exactly what it means. And so you've done all of that. So this is what called paribhasha. So paribhasha means a technical understanding of the word, like the word mouse. A mouse is in a computer technology is very different from the real mouse that runs around. And so you have to understand what the context of the word mouse is in if you're dealing with laptops and so on. And so similarly, mithya is a very technical, so that there, mouse is a very technical word. There is a paribhasha. Similarly, mithya is a paribhasha. You have to understand exactly what it means. And so we've done all that. I'm not going to go through that. So now the thing is that the Vedantins say that the whole world is mithya. Okay? So now the mind's objection, mind's doubts, and others' doubts also come up. And their doubt is, this is a viewpoint of a samsari. And the viewpoint of a samsari is, how can this be mithya? Because I see it. I deal with it. It hurts me. It has the potential of hurting me. So how can you call it how can you call it mithya? This I don't understand. Then comes a viveki. A viveki means one who has been well taught by a guru, well taught the principles of the Shastra. And it is not necessary that you immediately grasp it. It's nice if you could, but even if you don't, you must develop a shraddha towards what the Shastra is saying. And what the Shastra is saying is very interesting. This is the definition of what I would call viveka. Shastra is saying just the opposite of what a samsari is saying. Samsari is saying that whatever I can experience I cannot experience something that is not there. And because I'm experiencing, therefore that it must be real. How can you call it mithya? Vedantin says no. In fact, just the opposite. Whatever you experience must be mithya. And in fact, only if you cannot experience it, then either it is not there or it is reality. And if it is not there outside of you, it is zero. But if it is you, it is the reality. So from that standpoint, the Vedantins say that listen, your search, your lingam must be based on this firm principle that whatever is seen is mithya. It's just the opposite of what the samsari says. This is what is called viveka. So this is one of the principles of this is one of the elements of the sadhana chatushtaya, that this much you should definitely have. If you want to traverse the journey of life and not lose sight of the final goal, and if you want to be successful at it, then you must hold on to this view, even if you don't understand it fully, but this is the truth. Whatever yat drishyam tat mithya. Just the opposite of what the samsari says. So this is viveka. And the next step, as you know, is vairagya, which is a huge thing. So, Vairagya means a follow-up, a reaffirmation, a search for truth, search for reality for yourself as the Shastra is telling you. This is what Vairagya means. So here Swami Akhandananda says that please understand that Vairagya is not a dharma of the body, not a body dharma. You know, like, what do you mean by not a body dharma? What it means is that, you know, I have given up expensive tastes. I used to be very fond of expensive things. But you know what? I think now my body, I think this, I'm getting old. I don't need expensive things. I just want simple things. And so you display that by removing all the unnecessary things. You know, you take off jewelry from your body. You don't even color your hair anymore. You know, those kinds of things. This is not Vairagya that Vedanta is talking about, because it's not a body dharma. It is a mana dharma. It's a question of attitude, not a question of you know, something that you display to people and saying, see how simple I've become. That also is an abhimana. You're very proud of the fact that I've become very, very simple. I lead a very simple life now. That is all close to body dharma. It is not mana dharma. No, I remember this one, Swami Dayananji had said that very early on when he would talk, and a number of people will all be very impressed. My God, this is really amazing. What a truth. Incredible. I had no idea that I am not the body and I'm something other than that. That is so wonderful. A lot of people get influenced, and rightly so. Swamiji says this is very early on when he came in 1976, I remember. So he says that I got a letter from this woman. I just say person, why woman? Anyway, it happened to be a woman. And she said, Swamiji, my body wishes to see you. So this is the letter. I think he even read it out to us. My body will visit you on such and such day. I hope you are available. I don't know whether she said your body is available. Swamiji says, this is not what we are talking about. We know that, you know, who you are, what is it, and so on. This is just, it's not the way of expressing the truth. It's just a very partial truth where you feel, now I have understood it. So I don't travel, my body travels. No. So Vairagya, actually going back to the definition of Vairagya. So what is Vairagya? What do you mean by Vairagya? Vairagya means a sense of independence from both good and bad, as you know, from positive and negative, from pleasure and pain, dvandvatitam. And the essence of this, in all of the teachings, honestly, everybody does the same thing. The essence of Vairagya is Ragadvesha Nivritti, is the diminished, highly diminished version of likes and dislikes. So here in this example, Swami Akhandananda gives a very beautiful description of what likes and dislikes do. So he says, just look at it in your own life. Suppose you dislike someone. Let's start with that. Equally applies to like and dislike. Suppose you dislike someone. However, you have come to your decision that I do not like this person. Could be a situation, but let's talk about person. So here's what happens. When you interact or when you deal with, you have some experience with this person, you block off the one half of the person which is good. And you are focusing on that half of the person which is bad, that you don't like. So Swamiji says that you are essentially blindfolding half of yourself. And if you like someone, you do just the opposite, where you only focus on what you like, but you do not understand all the things that are a problem with that person. So you have a very biased view. Essentially, you're walking around blindfolded. It's not a recipe for objectivity, of independence from it, because you're so concerned about it that you want to take the next step. How can you actually begin to even reflect upon yourself if you're so tied up with one or the other half mistakenly about a person? And so raga dvesha nivritti is the essence of vairagya. And furthermore, vairagya, if it is not done, falsifies viveka. Falsifies it. Because already you had a lot of doubts when you were starting with viveka. How can things that I'm experiencing not be false, not be real? How can that be? You already have a lot of doubts. But then you meet some guru who says, no, think about it. It will be clearer to you, but grab onto this. So you say, okay, I have Shraddha, I will grab onto it. All right, I'll attempt to do it for a while. Then, in your practice, you falsify it. You say, I don't know. This doesn't seem good, because you have certain preconceived notions of who is good, who is bad, and you just go with it. And so therefore, whatever wealth you have or you had by actually beginning to look into the objectivity of the whole thing is now diminished. So this is the vairagya. All right, so then comes Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. So Shama, Dama, Uparama, Diksha, Samadhanam, and what's the sixth one? Anyway, the sixfold wealth of yourself. So there, the one is that this is all necessary for us to really, if you're serious about self-discovery, you're serious about removing the curtain that hides you from yourself, that allows you to have the drishti towards yourself rather than outside. If you want to do that, then these are, if that's the journey you are undertaking, then you must be equipped with properly dealing with the obstacles that come in your way towards that journey. And one of them is Shama. So Shama means, as you know, that it is absence of kama, krodha, moha, etc. Very obvious problems of anger, of hanging on to something and say, this is important, I just want to do this, I don't care about anything else. Kama. And moha. Moha means that even though it's not really leading up to anything, you say, I just want to have fun for the time being. So that kind of a feeling and so on. Those have to be negated to a large extent. It doesn't have to be eliminated, but what it means is that these intense desires, intense upsets, etc., must be diminished. So this is Shama. Then the Dhamma is more of the dharma of the karma indriyas. Karma indriyas, dharma. And so Dhamma also means that you have control over your sense or organs of actions. And so I wanted to just see a couple of things. Yeah, so 2 or 3 things on regarding the Dhamma. Danta, Shantaha. Same thing is expressed, Shamadhamma, etc., is expressed in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad as Shantadantaha. Shraddha was the last one that I missed. So, Shantaha, Dantaha. This is from a Upanishad called Subala Upanishad. And I think also appears in Brihadaranyaka, if I'm not mistaken. Because one can say that this sadhana chatushtaya, where is the proof that it is in an Upanishad? Everything must have a proof through the Upanishad. So it is there. Shantaha dantaha uparataha titikshuhu samahitaha shraddhaha vitto bhutva atmani eva atmanam pashyat. This is the verse. So dantaha means Dhamma. So Dhamma, a couple of aspects to that I was mentioning. One which was very useful to me when I met Swami Dayanandji, I remember this was amazing. And I've also talked about an interview that I saw with a English actor called Michael Caine on NPR several years after Swami Dayanandji told us this, which was a very good affirmation. So let me go over that. What Swami Dayanandji said was that your mind is chanchalam, it is just wavering and so on, if your body is also not under control. And Swami Khandananda also reaffirms it. He says that to get your mind under control, you must get your body into control. What do you mean by body into control? So very clearly means being aware of the fact, what are you doing at any one time? How much are you moving? If you are continuously moving, scratching, this, looking at this way, that way, and so on and so forth, that means that your mind also is not stable. And so to get the mind stable, the first thing, and this is what we do in the when we do the upasana, when we start to do asanam. So asana means, well, not just the asanam per se, but the whole day is to be aware of the fact, what is your body doing? Is it still? Is it stable? Or is it moving around, chanchalam and so on? So there's a great interconnection between body and the mind. So now the interview with Michael Caine. I remember that I was driving somewhere. This is like about, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago. And I was listening to NPR and they were interviewing Michael Caine. And Michael Caine was saying, I have learned acting from some great actors. What's the name of this guy? Alex. He's a sir, he's a knighted person. Alex. I forget his last name. So he mentioned him. He says, I really learned acting from. So he says, one of the basic facts of acting is, and I remember this so well because the movie Godfather was either already running or had recently concluded. I don't remember, somewhere. But the connection was to Godfather. So Michael Caine says, let me illustrate. If you watch the movie Godfather, listen to how, watch what it is. What is good acting, what is not. So when Godfather was there, he's there, presiding over a lot of people who are scurrying around trying to, give him news, get instructions from him, and so on and so forth. So he says, if you watch Godfather, who is obviously a big boss, and somebody is just totally impressed by him and very afraid of him and observe him and so on, he's sitting like this. So somebody comes up and says, sir, there's a phone call for you. Do you want to talk to him? Who is it? Oh, sir, this is her name. His name is such and such. And then, so forth. No. So through this acting, he says, watch this. He's not moving. He's not scratching or doing this, that, or the other. He's very resolute, calm. And this is what you need to do with yourself. Be aware of where your body is, because you're moving unnecessarily sometimes. And so this is part of, Dhamma, but also part of Samadhanam. So Samadhanam here also means that a single pointedness. And so that is the connection between the mind and the body. Beautiful, very, very practical. So the whole idea is really, honestly, this whole process of understanding what is the value of sadhana chatushtaya and so on. How is it that I can really effectively contemplate on myself? And in fact, Ishvara as myself. How can I do that? You don't need to really do anything, but you need to cease doing things. You have to stop doing things and really turn the attention to something which is quiet, resolute, always with you, always you. And if in order to do that, at least you need to figure out how are you frittering away this beautiful vision by trivial things. This is the idea of Danta. Then another thing, Danta means, another thing is that Danta also means Bhoga Nivritti. Bhoga Nivritti. So in the Shanta was Ragadvesha Nivritti, and Danta means Bhoga Nivritti. Bhoga Nivritti means diminishing the desire for experiences, good or bad. Not bad, obviously, everybody wants good experiences. But you have desire for doing this, you have desire for doing that. So this is very interesting. Swami Makhandananda says that in Shastra, this bhoga is one of two types. Bhoga means the experiencing of things. One is Shastra Viparita and one is Shastra Anukula. Bhoga, which is Shastra Viparita, and Bhoga, which is Shastra Anukula. Viparita means which is not sanctioned by Dharma. Not sanctioned by Dharma. So, for example, it just occurred to me that you are visiting some town, okay, and there you meet a lot of people, and you meet a person who says, "Oh, you are a very interesting person. I'd like to have lunch with you." So you're a married person, and you've already decided that my wife is, or the husband, either one, is the one for me, and I want to be loyal, and so on and so forth. Now, if this woman comes up and says, you're here for a couple of days, and he says, yes. So you have a very interesting personality. I'd like to have lunch with you. This is Shastra Viparita Bhoga. Absolutely not. Why do we want to have a lunch with a lady who hardly knows you? Absolutely no reason. Totally. So you have to immediately say, oh my God, I'd love to have lunch with you, but I'm very busy. I've got already some commitments. No. So that bhoga, which is Shastra Viparita Bhoga, should be gone from your life from the very beginning. That's, this is what they say, that the vivaha, the marriage, is a very important samskara. One of the most important samskaras. And it is not because of any other reason, but this chanchalata of the mind is resolved. How is it resolved? Because before you were married, you were always looking at other people and saying, maybe I should think about dating this woman or a man. Or maybe I should talk about, you have a wide open choice, you're not sure what is going on, and so on and so forth. But after all of that, whatever it is, you decided, I'm going to get married to this person. That really should, whether it does or not, but it should calm your mind down. How your drishti towards other women, if you're a man, you meet someone and, enjoy talking to them and so on and so forth. But no feeling of, should we enhance this in any way? Absolutely not. And it happens very naturally. And so the vivaha, marriage, is a very sacred sacrament, very sacred. Why is it so sacred? Is it because, I just want to be tied to this one person? No! It is sacred because it improves your outlook towards how you think about things. Samadhanam. Okay, So going back to Dantaha, so Swamiji says that Dama or Dantaha is one of two types. One is Shastra Viparita Bhoga, which you should eliminate. Gone. If you are still at that level, then please set aside Vedanta. Don't even think about it. You first try to make sure that you get hold of your own life. But assuming that that is gone long time ago, I don't do anything which is unethical, which is adharmic, which is illegal. I don't. Danta should also be done with Shastra Anukula Bhoga. Anukula Bhoga. This is a very important thing. Because these are all the advanced steps that we need to do, especially as we grow older. And we have now passed the Grihastha stage, we are now in the Vanaprastha stage, and hopefully in the sannyasa stage. So as we go through, how are we going to do this? These are all practical hints. So one of them is reduce even Shastra Anukula Bhoga. What do you mean by that? Shastra Anukula Bhoga reduction? You can say, I'm very wedded to my wife. One person, no question about that. I'm not even thinking about anything else and so on. But I want to keep enjoying things with my wife or husband. I'm just taking my viewpoint. What does that mean? It's not only the intimacy also needs to be reduced and will get reduced automatically as you grow older, but the sense of joint enjoyment. Let's cook together. Let's discover some new restaurants together. So you can say, what's wrong with that? Because now I'm happy, my children are grown up and so on, and I can just enjoy with my spouse, and it's all sanctioned by dharma. So what is the problem with that and so on? No. If you want to traverse the journey towards yourself, then there also you need to diminish this joint bhoga as much as possible. And so, for example, if your wife really is, or your husband is very interested in doing something, you have to be restrained in saying yes. And say, yeah, I think so, but you know what? I have the same challenge. And I'm not telling you something. But then I'm successfully negotiating this. And I'm so happy that because until you are also sincere in working with your spouse to do that and so on, if your spouse says, okay, let's go do this something, you say, okay, let's do it then. At least say, I was thinking of, this is what happens. I'm going to bug you pretty soon on going to the retreat for next year to the ashram, June 1st through June 8th. I think now that the aim for seva is over and a few other things, I'm going to start bugging you. So you better be ready. So your spouse will say, oh, we must travel on next June. We must do that. And then this is a new country. We have never been there before. And the weather is best in June, July, and so on. So you should say, by the way, I think I want to go to the retreat. I'm just giving you that as an example. Although it's a practical thing, you should do that. Don't tell me that next time because I'm going to, when I ask you for joining the retreat, Do not tell me we are committed to go to such and such, so on and so forth, because I will ask you, are you not listening to my classes? Anyway, I'm not doing that. But the main thing is that the diminishing of Shastra Anukula Bhoga means you have to push back. If you don't push back, the whole idea is how are you going to get the space, create a space for yourself where you do contemplation. Because otherwise life just flows, gone. And your spouse has a different journey to go to. You're together for about 50 years, all gone separately. Do you remember who your spouse was from your last life? And you won't remember that after this life. That's a guarantee. I can write that down. No memory. You're still there. Still wandering around trying to see where is Paramatma, where is Ishvara, who am I, what's happening, this, that or the other. You want to break that cycle. Your Dhamma also has to be diminishing of the Shastra Anukula Bhoga. If your spouse says, let's go out to eat. There's a new Mexican restaurant that has just opened. It may be a good idea to say, we don't have anything in the refrigerator from yesterday. And it's very possible this is just the opposite. I actually sometimes to give her some freedom will say, let's go out. And she's the one who says, no, but we've got some good leftovers from yesterday. Remember we went to this place and said, oh, okay, all right, let's do that. And this leads to a simple life, simpler life. Anyway, so that's Danta. Then the next one is Uparamaha, Uparatihi. They're very beautiful. All these are just, this is why I just thought that you know all this stuff before, but just to review that in terms of where you are and so on and so forth, it would be good. Uparatihi, Uparamaha. So Uparama means, okay. I understand Shama and I understand Dhamma and so on. I think I have a pretty good idea and I'm working on it and I'm really making good progress and so on and so forth. But here's what I want to do. I want to keep working in my life. You want to keep working in your life? Yeah, I want to be just busy. I want to be very busy. Okay. What's wrong with that? And in fact, from our own life's experiences, we find that, whenever we work, when we are engaged in something worthwhile, we feel good about it. What is it called? The idle mind is a devil's workshop. It's true. If you don't have anything to do, you come up with all kinds of things. But if you're just engaged in some work and so on, you feel better about it. No question about that. So you feel, I'm just going to be working. And I would like to keep on doing it. Okay. But this is why I find often sometimes people will tell me, somebody just told me recently, he says, my son bought a some kind of a agency for something. And he says he was very, very happy about it, and it was he managed the shop extremely well. He made, he's making good money and so on. But now he's thinking of buying new ones. The real money comes in when you have 2 or 3 of those, not just one. So he is now buying some new ones. And so this is what it means. I like what I'm doing, I'm working, and I want to now expand it to some other people, other ventures. Or even if that is not the case, you feel that, I've got some new ideas for an IPO, and I think I want to just invest in it, and Vedanta can wait, but let me just keep working. But if you are a serious Vedantin, do not start anything new unless you have to. If your household really needs the money and we need to work, that's a different thing. I'm not talking about that. But as an independent option, you have to withdraw from it. Say, enough of work. I must say I was very lucky that in my Hewlett-Packard, Bhagavan he's just looking over me. So when I was about 55 or so, I was doing well, and I was very engaged with a lot of activity at Hewlett-Packard, even though I had already finished the coursework with Swami Dayanandji, but I came back and I was supervising a number of salespeople and making good money and all of that. Then Bhagavan started some new things. The whole part of that business was not doing well. And they were patient for a year or two and so on. Finally, they said, let us dissolve this whole section. Not just one section, it was a lot of products and so on and so forth in Hewlett-Packard. And things were reorganized. My boss got changed. And I was put into a staff situation with somebody, not an individual boss of other people. This happened from 55 to about 58 or so. So then I was an independent contributor. In the meantime, luckily my wife also started her business, and she started doing well. And one day I took out my worksheet, and I said, this is how much money we have. This is how much my wife is going to earn, most probably. And this is how much we spend. Do I need to keep working? And of course, you have to hide that from the spouse, because if you say, I'm stopping working, she'll say, what? You must be crazy. You're only 57, 58. People don't retire at that early. So I kept it away from her. I was just doing my own calculation and so on and so forth. And I had a lot of interest to start to, to teach more aggressively, more actively and so on. Stopped working. My God, Ishvara came to my help. The interesting thing was that the whole company was not doing well. No, the section that I was in was not doing well. So the HR department said, if you want to take early retirement, we'll give you 1 year off. I said, wow, good, 1 year of free salary. Then, as my luck would have it, there was a company-wide problem, and they gave another option. So I called them up and I said, can I take both of them? They said, yes, you can take both of them. I got 2 years of salary. And I quit working at the age of 58, and I worked until 60. And really started to really study more, go to India more, met with Swamiji more. All those wonderful things happened. But if my idea was, I am keeping working until I'm 65, 70 or something like this, life would have been very different. So this is what is called Uparamaha. Uparamaha means that, and this is also Shastra Anukula Uparamaha. Supposing you say that I'm tired of working. I really don't like. My boss is a problem, and so on and so forth, and I cannot do this. Then that's not stopping the work. It doesn't mean stop work. But if everything is going well and you don't need to work, then don't. Anyway, that is what Uparamaha. Then Titiksha, and this is very, very short. It just means that life will always give you some discomfort, and if you get thrown off the tracks, then that is not right. Your body is going to give a lot of problems. Your mind is going to give problems. Society is going to give problems. There's going to be wars. There's going to be earthquakes. All those kind of things are going to happen. This is what Ishra Shrishti is. You are in the middle of it. But to go off the track and say, you know, I've been studying for so long and same problems keep coming up and so on and so forth. Of course, they'll keep coming up until you resolve it. But why do you want to stop resolving it? Diksha. So the next section, which is also very interesting, is so we have done all the other ones. The only one left, which is called Shraddha. Shraddha. So Shraddha has a meaning here. So the other ones like Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, etc. have either Sharira Dharma or Mana Dharma. Shraddha is appeals to your buddhi. It is not the manaha, not the sharira, not the annamaya kosha, not any other kosha, but vijnanamaya kosha. So vijnanamaya kosha means that you have a certain idea of who you are. I'm somebody. I'm doing well. I'm headed in the right direction. I think I'm going to do well. And I want to keep doing it. I want to learn some new things. This is what is called the me. So this is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, Abhimana, a sense of identification with your identity as a person. This is the thing. So here's what happens. And we can see this. This is not something that is theoretical or anything like this. If you talk to someone who has not been introduced to Vedanta, as you do, we do that all the time, they have a certain abhimana. I certainly move amongst people, there are a lot of people who have done very well for themselves, much better than I have, much better, much better. Financially, they've done well. Intellectually, they've done well. And they're reasonably happy and well, so on and so forth. So they have a certain abhimana. This is who I am. I'm married, I've done well in my life, I've got good children, doing all that, abhimana. Now supposing you were to approach them and say, this science of spirituality called Vedanta. They will first of all say, is this the same as Bhagavad Gita? Because everybody has much more of a Shraddha towards Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, it is more or less the same. Oh yes, I know, I have read Bhagavad Gita. I think I know pretty much what they're saying. You know what they're saying in Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, I think I got the essence of it, Atma, Anatma, and so on and so forth. Okay. So if you probe and say, yes, so what does that mean? But I think I'm okay, I'm doing well, and so on and so forth. Do you want to come listen to some classes? No, I don't have the time right now, you know, I'm doing well. So that means they do not have any kind of a Shraddha, because they don't want to bow down to something which may not be equal to what their estimation of who they are. Understandable? Fine. Okay. Now let's take the second case. The second case is our people who actually have been studying Vedanta for a while. They have really found some beauty and truth in the Shastra, and they are also have an intellectual curiosity that I want to learn Sanskrit, and I want to really know all of the basic things and so on and so forth, and they keep doing it. They do it. Okay. So then you say, you want to talk to this guru, this teacher, I read in some classes. No, I don't think I need to. I don't think, because I think I'm doing well. I'm studying, and I'm reading a number of books, a number of commentaries, and I've read so many books. If you come to my library, I'll show you. And so I'm doing okay. I haven't reached the final goal yet, but I think I'm on my way to do that. And I know the structure, I know Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and so on. I don't want to really listen to someone, because gurus all have their own agendas and so on and so forth, and I just don't need to do all of that. So here we traverse into a new area, which, as you know very well in this, very well in our Shastra, which says you cannot reach the goal without listening to a living guru. Did you get that? Are you listening to me? Shastra says you must go to a guru, and it is not textbooks. If the Shastra would have said either go to a guru or to read the textbooks yourself, either one is okay. If it had said it, then it would have given a sanction to reading independent texts. But it doesn't. Parikshya lokan karmachitan ayat brahmanah nasti akritaha kritena tat vijnanartham gurumeva vigachet shotriyam brahmanishtam. So he says that having done some viveka, that really akritaha kritena nasti, the one which is the reality without doing anything. You cannot reach that reality by doing. You cannot reach the infinity by approaching infinity. And to understand this, you must go to a living guru and listen in person. Must do that. Guru meva bigachet, nahi samit pani. So this samit pani means a handful of woods that are used for, this is in the old days, where the guru wanted to just build some fire every day for cooking and for doing puja, etc. And he needed some help to accumulate enough wood for the daily use. And so this is what their shishyas will do. Or a new shishya that would come in with, just like you're not supposed to go to some place without having something in your hand. Either some flowers or some fruits or something that you cooked. It is not a good idea to just visit somebody empty-handed. So like that, a shishya cannot approach a living guru empty-handed. At the very least, you should have some leaves, flowers, fruits. Or better still, have samit in your hand. Samit means firewood. So this is called samit pani. Pani means hands, a handful of samit. It's a very interesting story. So whenever Swami Dayanandji would start a course, he would interview a lot of people. He did that with me also and with a lot of people, and saying, okay, tell me about yourself. What's your situation? Who's at the home? Brothers and sisters? All this is very important. For example, if there was only one son in the family and that son wants to go and listen, he would probably say no. Also, he would ask about how do your parents feel about it. So there's a lot of things. So story has it that when Swami Paramarthananda ji approached Swami Dayananda, he actually took some firewood in his hand, samit pani. And the story goes that Swamiji, this is the first time somebody had actually done that. We go for an interview with the Shastra Anukula Dharma, which is samit pani. Swami said, you're in. He didn't even ask him any other questions. Swami Paramarthananda has become one of the greatest shishyas of Swami Dayanandji. Anyway, so here I'm running out of time. Or maybe I can do a little bit more. I think I can finish this topic. So going to a real guru is a very important thing. Very important thing. And a guru that has the right both viveka and vairagya. You must find the vairagya in his life or her life. If you do not have vairagya, then don't go to that person, because this viveka is not real. So Shrotriyam, Brahmanishtam actually refers to Shrotriyam means viveka. How exactly to teach, what's the difference, and so on and so forth. All this is basic stuff. And then Brahmanishtam means that your drishti is towards yourself and you have vairagya towards the samsara. That is the person you should go to. If you cannot find it, don't go to him. Or you can temporarily go to somebody who is not a Brahmanishta, who is just a Shrotriya. That's just temporary. But eventually you must find a Mahatma who would tell you. And I tell you, this is what I find in the books of Swami Mukhandananda ji. And in my case, I can see that I really had contacts with Swami Dayanandji, a very interesting contact where I could get the vision, Swami Chinmaya also. And my vision was pretty clear, but not completely clear. The completeness of that engendered by Swami Akhandananda. And because I see that what he's talking about dovetails exactly with what needs to be done, what others have told me and what my whole life is. I don't need to do anything else. This is it. No more books, no more this, that, or the other. So now the thing is, for a student, a Shraddha is important to what is called Abhimana Nivritti. See, before that it is Ragadvesha Nivritti, it is Bhoga Nivritti, etc. This is Abhimana Nivritti. It appeals to your Vijnanamaya Kosha. As long as you feel, oh, I think I'm doing well. We will go into a little bit more about that later on, but I do want to point out a couple of things with respect to, this is also what is called Guru Upasadhanam. Guru Upasadhanam, Guru Seva. What does it mean? So here just one thing that I'd like to point out, then I think we can go on to other things. A guru has some very unique qualities as far as you are concerned in your life. Unique qualities for your life. Not the qualities in the guru itself, but from your standpoint, some very unique. What are those? So, again, I think that I'll need some more time for this, but let me at least introduce it and I'll elaborate it next time. So what happens is that we need help from others from time to time. Who do we have complete Shraddha towards? So, for a married person, there are two main contestants for your Shraddha and trust. Two main contestants. One is your mother, probably much more than the father. Much more than the father, the mother. You have especially if you're a woman, and even if you're a man, the relationship with a mother is a very deep one. Okay? The other one is your spouse. As we have said, you're committed to it, you have abandoned all looking around and so on. That's it. So you have complete Shraddha towards your spouse. Now look, even in those two cases, your Shraddha is not complete. Swamiji points this out. He says, you will not tell certain things to your mother that you will tell to your spouse. And vice versa. You cannot tell some things to your spouse that you will share with your mom. This does not happen with the Guru. The reason for that is that your relationship with your mom and with your spouse still has some conditionality to it. They all have some little bit of an agenda. In the case of both of them have the same thing, that whatever this person does, I don't want to lose him. He's going to take care of me in my old life. I don't want to make him angry. I don't want to do this and so on and so forth. So they play along with you to make sure that their purposes are not disturbed in any way. So they have an agenda. Wife has an agenda. Husband also has an agenda. The Guru has no such agenda. This is the greatness of the Guru. No such agenda. And a Guru who is really a Sadguru, they're not all the Gurus are Sadgurus. They all have agendas. But if you find someone who is secure in himself, who is a teacher the way it should be taught and has vairagya, has no agenda. So you can go to a guru and get advice which is the purest form of advice because it is not tinged with any conditionality. This is one aspect of the Guru. There are some other aspects of the Guru that we will touch upon very briefly. And then I think we are almost to the end of the Sadhana Chatushtaya. Then we will resume the commentary of Anubandha Chatushtaya, where both Swami Dayanandaji's book as well as Swami Akhandananda's book, we'll see them together from now point on, because this was all Swami Akhandananda. So we will now embark upon, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other stuff that has been talked about by Swami Akhandananda, but I think I will eschew all of that and just go straight away into the very last section called Anubandha Chatushtaya, which I'll explain next week. And then move into the main text of the Mandukya, number 1. So that's how the plan is. So today is what, the 18th? So I should think about Thanksgiving Saturday. Thanksgiving Saturday, 18th. I think my sense is that we will not have a class next Saturday, because we also have a number of activities during Thanksgiving. 3 of our children, their birthdays are on that week. Then we have a Thanksgiving, all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure you are also busy with the family. So traditionally, we have not had a class on Thanksgiving. I'll confirm that with a WhatsApp message. But for now, we will not meet for Thanksgiving next week, and we'll meet the following week. Okay? With that, we close the class. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. See, let's who's here. And Darshana, Amit, Suvarna, Kalpana, Chandragulam, Shubha, and Shri, Maithili, Akhil, Sanjeev, Raj Velpuri, Keshav, Lichi, Subroto, Kamala, Shanti Kumar, Surendra Bhargava, Renu Deswani, Satish Chalota, John Varney, Zarina, Naitalya, Arvind, Shobhana, Chawla, Asha Jain. Keshav says spouse relationship may be possible in Vanaprastha ashrama, not a big age difference. That's a big topic. We can do that. It's Vanaprastha doesn't mean, really speaking. I've always have a very good way of my looking at Vanaprastha. From my life's experiences, from talking to Swamijis and so on, which is this. Vanaprastha is a stage where the sense of possessiveness of rights is diminished greatly. I would say that like, for example, during your married life, you have a certain expectation that your spouse behaves in a particular way, goes along with you in a particular way, and so on. And you have a sense of, possessiveness and ownership of that relationship, expectation. That is all there. But contrast that to a sense of friendship with people that you are friends with. So it doesn't mean that you don't have, generally you have pleasant relationships, but even if there is some unpleasantness that comes in and so on and so forth, you have a certain distance relationship as friends. You don't have that with the spouse in the Grihastha stage, but in the Vanaprastha stage, the aspiration should be that you treat your spouse as a friend more than as a spouse. And it's very clear. Sometimes, you would tolerate more things from a friend than you would from your spouse in Grihastha stage. And the same thing needs to also be prevalent in the Vanaprastha stage with your spouse. You start to treat your spouse as a friend with all of its, conditions and so on. So it's not as though, so it's not a lack of contact. It is just the way of attitude. I always thought that to me to be my goal. Anyway, we can talk about that some. Ella Guinness, yes. John, you're absolutely right. Ella Guinness, yes, that was his guru. And he was talking about that. Very interesting, very consistent with what Swami Dayanandji has said. That be very, and it's interesting that for doing nididhyasanam and contemplation and so on, a proper understanding of your body is very important. That so you can reverse that by improving your mental samadhanam by body samadhanam. Yeah. Shanti Kumar says, Vanaprastha ashram, isn't it withdrawal from active samsara? Maybe not quite as simple as that. Perhaps what we will do is maybe start the next class, since we are already into that topic, with a little bit more detail about Vanaprastha. Why don't we do that? Because it's getting late. And I should also say that I'm really planning to have a Zoom session, although because of my illness, I'm still not completely well. My temperature is down today, but my body ache continues. And it's very similar to my granddaughter. So there's no mystery, but it's just going to take a while. And I have to rearrange some things to arrange for Raj to come over and teach me on Zoom. So it's in the works, but exactly when it will happen, I'm not sure. And I think that we can have a much more in-depth dialogue in Zoom. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so with that, we will sign off. Hari Om.